Hey guys, it's your counselor, Jen Vothrin. I own Soulutions Counselling, and today we're going to talk about sex. So today it's going to be everything from the first encounter you have with intimacy to the last encounter and everything in between. What's the right time for you to have sex? So there's times where religion will come into the question, age will come into the question. Have you spoken with your spouse about this? Have you spoken with your parents about it? I know, sex, talking to your parents, seriously, if you're going to ask me about this, I know. But sometimes they have a lot of really good questions, or answers, I should say. Then we can go all the way to the other end of the spectrum when you're 80 or 70 or 90 and one of you is feeling really frisky still and the other one is totally like, I don't want anything to do with this, I just want to hold your hand and walk down the beach. Then you're in your mid 40s, 50s, and you're kind of going through that, did I get married too soon? I didn't experience enough. I want a divorce. I want to go out and see what it's like to be with somebody younger. Am I still attractive? And then your marriage goes sideways. But that's a whole other story. So let's just start with step one. Step one. Well, sex is being introduced to us at such an early age now. How do we know when the right time is? Do you know when the right time is? Obviously not, or we wouldn't be watching this. I feel that the right time is, number one, when you've communicated with your spouse. This isn't something that you just hop into, or you do because you feel guilty if you don't, or you do because you don't want to lose your boyfriend. Anybody that's going to lose you or leave you, or the fact that you're not going to be intimate with them, is not the right person for you, because you're worth way more than that. Truly. Intimacy is something you learn together. It's an experience. If you plan on spending the rest of your life with this person, this is something that you really want to make exciting. There's so many different areas when it comes to intimacy. There's making love. There's fantasy. There's somewhere in between. What is it that you truly have to communicate with that person? And if you're feeling guilty, oh, my parents are going to find out, or oh, I'm having an affair, or I'm, whatever it is, and you're not going to enjoy being intimate with somebody. So the key to this, number one, is communication. Next of all, when we get into our 20s, 30s, 40s, every stage is different. So when we're in our teens, we kind of feel as though we have to. What's going to stop you from feeling like you have to? When you get into your 20s, it's more, well, I'm kind of thinking about marriage, but we still don't know if this is the right person. What questions have you analyzed? Have you written a list to see what kind of person you want to spend the rest of your life with, and what life is going to look like when you're 80, 90, 100 years old? What's going to be important to you? Even when you hit 30, because between 30 and 50 is truly when a lot of divorces happen. We get married when we're really young. We think it's really important to be married. And then all of a sudden we get married and we feel like we've missed out on life. Well, that's not the case. Most of the times you just have to tweak your marriage to spicing it up. Give it more. Go see the sex shows. Get some ideas. I don't mean pornography. I mean like just the sex shows. Ask your partner what they want from you. I hear so many people talk about, if he would just do this, or if she would just do that, or this is what I like. Well, have you told them that's what you like? Well, no, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt their feelings. Well, you're going to hurt their feelings more if you end up divorcing them, or they end up divorcing you, because you guys aren't communicating enough to have a really good sex life. I mean, come on, sex is great if you talk and communicate. But if you don't, you're laying there like a log and you're not enjoying it. You're not having an orgasm. You're not doing anything to make you feel good. In return, your spouse, your partner, feels that. When you hug somebody, you really feel that hug. You want that same feeling when you are intimate, holding that person, feeling that person, inside and out. Intimacy, making love, is communicating physically. Communication It's like a dance of art. Really think of that. It's like a dance of art. You're really entwining your bodies together to feel like one, to feel like your best friend. And if you're not getting it, work on it. It's really exciting when you get to work on things like that. So as we get in and we get to our 50s, we start to think about retirement, and sometimes we kind of get stuck in this rut of, oh my God, I married this guy or woman, and I don't want to be traveling the world with this person. So again, we go right back to square one, making that list. What is it you want out of a man or woman, or same sex, whatever, gender, whatever you want in your life? Make a list. Put it out there, okay? Because as we get older or our spouse passes away, then we have to, again, look at our list, check off the things that I don't need that anymore. I don't need the money, I don't need this, but I do need communication, I do need to be held, and I do need to feel safe. So there's a whole bunch of different things. Making love is all about communication. It's all about having that art, that intimacy of dancing. I heard a really good expression. I don't know if this will make sense to you or not, but when you're dancing, you can feel the groove of another person. You can feel the togetherness like this. I want you to think of intimacy like that. And if you've never danced with a guy, you're too young to be having sex. Okay? End of story. I really want you to feel that. I also, getting back to being too young, I lost my virginity at a very early age. And if I could have done it all over again, I would not lose my virginity at a very early age. And I would most definitely talk to my dad about it, because I think he could have given me a totally different view on that. My dad's worst or nightmare to him is never teaching me how to say no. Being able to say no and feeling like it's okay, great thing. You will have way more respect, even when you're in bed. Even if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, whatever you are, you always have the right to say no. And then ask questions. And so does your spouse, partner, doesn't matter, gender and otherwise. You have the right to communicate before you have intimacy. Communicate. Sometimes we have making love, sometimes we have fantasy nights, sometimes, there's so many things that I could get into, but being age appropriate, I don't want to make this more or less an erotic video. I mean, if you want to know more about intimacy, by all means get a hold of me. You will see a list of how you can communicate with me, and I will gladly get back to you. There's so many ways of keeping spice in your relationship with your partner. If you are just stepping into this and you have questions and you don't know how to, so I'll tell you my first experience about kissing. I thought it was really cool and funny to bite the tongue of the gentleman that went to go kiss me. Not so funny at all. Never felt like I could say no. I had every right to say no. I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I didn't know the parts of the body. I didn't know that it was okay to say no. I wore shirts all the time because I was so self-conscious. If you're self-conscious and you're with your partner, you shouldn't be with them. You need to be secure with yourself before you can be secure in any relationship. Just because your girlfriends and your guy friends are having sex does not mean you have to be having sex. It's okay to not have sex for ever and ever and ever. If you choose never to have sex, and yes, I do have 2 friends that have never had sex in their life, that's their choice. Religion definitely comes into this, where Christian or Catholic, any kind of religion, it's knowing that you should wait to be intimate with your partner. That can be really challenging. I mean, how many times do you feel like, okay, I'm ready, and then you go, oh, not so much, okay, I have to sort of admit this to myself, and then to God, and then to my parents, and I'm not ready to do that. Or you do it and you live with guilt forever and ever and ever. It's got to be the right thing. If you have to talk to your pastor about it, talk to your pastor. I go to Village Church. Mark is a great pastor. I could ask him anything, anytime, anywhere. There's community groups. There's so many different groups that you can connect with online, connect with me. Any questions you have, I'd be more than willing and happy to answer them, because there's a vast area when it comes to intimacy. Just be real. Be yourself in any circumstances, right down to when you are 90 years old. And age appropriate. What is age appropriate? If you're 90 and you're seeing somebody who's 45, is it my choice that I say, I don't agree with that because I think they're out for your money, or I don't agree with that because they're too young for you? I don't really have the right. If you're this age and you're seeing somebody that's double your age, sometimes that can work out really well, sometimes not so much. I have a girlfriend of mine who started at a very early age with a man who was double her age plus, and they've been together 24 years. So most of us would have said, oh my goodness, what are you doing with your life? They now have 3 children and they're very happily married. So every situation is unique. I hope I haven't rambled on too much, but if you want to ask me any questions at all, please feel free to ask me from A to Z. I'm totally here for you. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. So I hope this has helped you and freed you from the pressure of saying yes or no. Take that pressure right off of it, because when you have the pressure, you're never going to enjoy it anyways. So why don't we connect? I'm sure you have loads of questions you want to ask me. I would love to talk to you about it. I do sex therapy with many different couples, and it's a joyous thing when it's about you and it's about them and meeting both your needs. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.